Emotional intelligence, or EQ.
What is it? Does it even matter? And how do you develop it? Riki, what does emotional intelligence mean to you?
Well, to me, and only to me, it means listening with your ears to everything around you, but hearing everything with your heart. And often that can be chaos, but the intelligence part is making sense or responding to the chaos in an ordered and structured way.
Right. I really like that.
Thanks.
Because I've actually thought about it myself and it's not too different.
Yeah, right.
So you said feeling things, essentially.
Yep.
Sifting through it with your intelligence.
Yep.
And then making sense of that soup.
Yes.
Sorry, I put it all in my own words.
No.
Just trying to reflect.
You reflected very well. Very, very emotionally intelligent of you.
Oh, thank you.
But yeah, making sense of it and responding in an appropriate, emotionally responsive and intelligent way.
Yeah.
How about you?
Emotional intelligence to me is the ability to feel the world around you. That includes the environment, society, and individuals. To recognize its validity, which to me is really important. To know that stuff matters. And to work with it.
I like it. So it's taking in everything around you, the environment, the people, every single thing, and working with that.
Yes. The reason why I said everything, like the environment and society and individuals, and you said, I think you used the term everything just then, is because you can't help it.
Yes.
Everything is bearing down on us, whether you like it or not. The temperature, the humidity, other people.
The stars and the radiation.
Anything, who knows? 5G. That was a joke. Please don't cancel me. But you can't help but feel everything. Now, we've all got different sensitivity levels, okay? Some of us, you touch someone and it burns, literally feels like burning. Other people, you could drop a rock on their foot and they wouldn't feel it. So you've got to know yourself, of course.
Yeah.
But essentially, we all feel everything to some degree. And I suppose that degree can be 0 for many things, but we feel. And it's important to work with that. Now, we've got to look at how important are those feelings. Actually, you know what? What are feelings? Riki, what would you say?
They're a response. They're a response or a reaction.
What kind of response or reaction, though? I mean, if we use the word feel, would you say it's a physical response?
Both. I don't think you can really separate the physical from the emotional.
See, I think emotions are physical. When you say feelings, and where do we get that word from? It's because we feel it. When you love someone, you feel a physical sensation in your gut, don't you? I know we always talk about the heart. I think we need to change the symbol of love to like intestines or something. What do you reckon? Much more romantic.
Yes.
But yeah, you feel things. When you get angry, where do you feel anger? Anger is a feeling, and I feel it in my shortening of the breath. I feel it here in the lungs. That's where I feel anger. When I feel some other things, tension, for example, or anxiety, that's in the stomach. Other things, I feel it up here in the traps. So to me, feelings are a physical thing.
Just a physical thing?
They are not just a physical thing, but they start as a physical thing, and we identify them and put a label on them, and then we process that as what we call an emotion, which is, I suppose, a combination of the physical
together,
and the neurological or intellectual.
Yeah. I agree with that. Yeah, for me, they feel like they're always intertwined, where the physical and the emotional are just almost like a dance in a way, where you can't, for me, they can't be, they can be separated to the point where, like what you're saying, I feel it here, or when we ask the kids, where are you feeling it right now? Is it, is it your throat? Is it, you're feeling choked up, you can't talk, or are you feeling nervous in your stomach? Or it's helpful, I think, to identify where, like you're saying, in your body, do you feel it? Yeah. And how is it sort of manifesting in your body?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess I want to know, why is it important? And I think this is really the crux of the issue of EQ. Some people don't even believe it exists, that emotional intelligence is a thing. It's just, it can't be measured. And of course, if you can't measure something, it's not real. So that was sarcasm, by the way, /S, end sarcasm. So does it matter? That's the big question, I think. Do feelings matter? I mean, who cares, right? We need to get this thing done. We need to build this building and get the plumbing in, and you're there having some emotional moment. As the foreman, I need to get this done. We've got a contract signed. Get to work, right? So how important are feelings?
Enormously important.
Why?
Because they drive everything. They drive how we are in this world. So, yeah, they need to be humans, need to be heard, need to be seen, need to be responded to, hopefully in a beautiful way, hopefully.
I'm playing devil's advocate here. Don't we just need to get stuff done?
Sometimes, yeah. And sometimes getting stuff done means listening to something that's really difficult. That's getting stuff done, isn't it?
But it's not productive. It's not helping the economy, right? Our GDP numbers won't go up because we're listening to each other. Or do they? But let's just assume they don't. And I'm playing devil's advocate here. Can't we just get on with the job?
Sometimes you need to get on with the job. Like if there's a fire, you've got to rescue someone or get out of there. Of course, there's a time for action, but that's not all the time, is it?
And this is what I wanted to get to.
Yeah.
I think you went to the exact place that I wanted you to go. I was kind of herding you through these gates. And that's the thing. There's a time for action and there's a time for contemplation. We're not always being chased by a tiger. And when you are, run. I don't even know where you're supposed to run to, by the way. I'd climb a tree, but the tigers can climb trees. I'm a dead man, aren't I?
And they can swim too. So.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Let's come up with another analogy. But yeah, there is a time to get things done. I used to play a lot of sports, and you don't sit there and reflect in the middle of a game of football, other than on the game itself. But it's all about action. You don't even have time. It's actually about reaction. You don't have time to think. You're just going through all of the drills that you've done. It's all muscle memory and all trying to go through the playbook. That's about it. So you're not there to talk about your childhood on the field. But of course, all that affects the way you play, doesn't it? And I think that's what I really wanted to get to, that everything we do, all the action stuff, the doing stuff, the verbs of life, the quality of that is all informed by our feelings. Now, if you don't believe me that feelings matter, I want you to do a little experiment. I want you to spend all day listening to heavy metal music.
Death metal?
Death metal. I don't know what death metal is. Is that Slipknot and Megadeth and Pantera and all that stuff? I'm not talking about like Metallica. I don't even consider that really heavy metal. No. That's just rock music, right?
Yeah.
But the hard stuff.
Yeah.
I want you to spend all day listening to that, no matter what you're doing, right? Kids party, pass the parcel, Megadeth, right? Date night with your beautiful woman, Slipknot, okay? You tell me how you're feeling, okay? When you've got a pounding headache, I want you to put on even heavier music. Parkway Drive, I think that's another heavy metal band. I need to get up to date.
You're doing really well with the names. I didn't know any of them.
I heard them on Triple J at some point in my life. But I want you to just listen to heavy metal music all day. See how you feel. See what it does to you. See the vibe of the party, especially a kids' party. What happens when you do that? Now, do you believe me that feelings matter? That they have a real effect on things? Right. Okay. I think we've established that. We've convinced the audience, all three of them, my mum, your parents, that feelings matter, right? So from there, I would say the challenge is balancing the importance of feelings and the mechanics of life, getting on with stuff.
I would agree with that, yeah.
And on the topic of music, I want you to think about the experience of music. I think it was the ancient Greeks that said, music takes an axe to the frozen sea of emotions inside us all. It gets something out of us, doesn't it? Now, imagine experiencing music by reading it only. Imagine saying, yeah, I've read every Rolling Stones album. They're really good. Yeah, they've got this many beats per minute. They play C this many times. They change keys this many times. Who cares, right?
Yeah.
Music isn't the speakers. It's not the stereo you're playing it on.
It's not the theory. It's the feel.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So if you don't have that, then what is your life? Is your life just the speakers and the stereo and understanding the numbers and how many beats per minute are in your life? The numbers, in other words. All the stats, how much money you've got in your bank account, how big your house is. But what about the feel behind it all? What about the emotional content of your life? Isn't that what drives us?
Yeah, it's beautiful.
Oh, thank you. But you did say that emotions drive us, and I just wanted to add to that.
Yeah, that's gorgeous.
So, Riki, how can we develop emotional intelligence?
Assuming that we're born with, I guess, a kind of emotional intelligence, I believe that it's the way that our caregivers respond to us that confirms for us that our feelings were sort of matched and were correct. That's how we form our inner compass, perhaps, of emotional intelligence. So if we're feeling threatened or scared of being hurt in some way, and we call out and we're crying and our caregiver picks us up and gives us a sense of security and safety. Oh, okay, that feeling was matched what was happening on the outside. I don't know if that makes sense.
Yeah, they validated your fear.
Yes, my feelings, that as a baby, the baby's feelings are validated and they go, all right, okay, well, that was a correct response to the world.
Yeah.
So I think that a lot of things are shaped very, very early on. So if we're alone in a room crying and no one responds, then that must be shaping how we respond to the world.
And that's a signal you're getting back from the world. You cry, nothing happens. Okay, so my intelligence tells me, because intelligence quite often is about pattern recognition. So I've recognized there's this pattern. I cry, nothing happens. Okay, so it's futile. So I stop crying. I stop expressing my emotions. Okay, so that's how the world works.
Yeah.
Now I get it. Okay,
Yeah.
sorry, I thought that you cry and then someone comes to you. Okay, so you do that. And that's it, right? That's intelligence. And this is...
Making sense and ordering your feedback that you...
Exactly.
Yeah.
So the world gave you feedback. No one's listening.
Yes.
So your response to it is, shut up.
Yeah, be quiet, because you could draw attention to yourself and get eaten. So,
But to sum up that point, it's really starts early.
Yes.
So we're talking about developing emotional intelligence, and ideally you would develop it the moment a child is born. We don't live in an ideal world, and nobody has perfect parents. Unfortunately, that includes our children, and I'm constantly messing up on every level. Yeah. And I just want to make that clear that we're both here to learn. We're sharing experiences, but we're no experts in anything. We're just simply two learners on the path. We've got L plates forever. That's how it is as a parent.
Yeah.
You may be lucky and get your red peas.
Yeah, maybe when you're a grandparent.
Exactly. It's not till you're a grandparent that you might be decent. But I'm a learner for life.
Yeah, absolutely.
So we don't have ideal parents. No one does. How do we develop it? Perhaps as a teenager, as an adult, what kind of things can we do to get better at emotional intelligence?
Listen.
To what?
Everything. I think, like I said earlier, with your heart. So you're taking in everything that you see in your child, and hopefully you can read between the lines. It's often non-verbal that, emotions aren't always expressed in words. And usually they're not. Usually I think communication, it's something like 7% of how we communicate is actually words. So that's a huge amount of that's, not words.
Yep.
And show a child, hopefully, that they're seen and they're heard and all of their being, all of their feelings matter.
Yeah. All right. What about for the individual? So I'm a grown man. What's something that a grown person can do to develop their emotional intelligence for themselves?
Emotional hygiene.
What does emotional hygiene mean? Brushing your emotional teeth, brushing your heart.
Exactly. No, it's developing practices. Some people might meditate, some people might journal, some people might jog, or some people might... Everyone's got their different ways, but to be able to, in a way, clean up your emotions, sort them out, because they're usually chaos. Well, for me anyway, they're usually chaos. But I need to listen to each emotion, each part of myself, and hear every part of myself from different ages as well. My inner child, so many different parts of myself that need to be heard, and then care for those parts of myself. And then hopefully I'm available to do that for others.
That's beautiful. And that's from an emotionally aware person. I'm going to go back a step before that, because that assumes that you know your feelings, that you can identify them.
You have to be comfortable with them as well, maybe.
I'm going to take a step way, way back.
Yeah.
Right. For a person like me who sometimes doesn't even know what's happening inside, I think the first step to developing emotional intelligence is acknowledging that feelings even exist.
Yeah, like having a list of, 400 different emotions.
Exactly. Put a name on it.
Yeah. Being able to have a vocabulary around feelings and go, wow, I feel this, or I feel rage, or I feel, happiness, or I feel grief, or whatever it is. Be able to give it a name to help identify where it is.
You just use the term rage, and that conjures up images for me, anger, rage. It's funny that women are seen as these emotional creatures, whereas men can rage over anything. Like a guy can storm into a boardroom, kick the door down, yell at everyone, berate every board member for their performance.
Yeah, but that's not being emotional.
No, that's a strong leader.
Women are emotional.
That's a strong leader. We need more men like that.
Yeah.
But if a woman goes off her head or feels anything, women, emotional.
Yeah.
But men aren't emotional. We're strong.
Yeah.
I think that really needs to flip. I think men really need to recognize that anger is an emotion and to understand the cause of our anger. I think men are often afraid of their anger. I know I am. And because we're physically stronger, we can worry about what will happen when we get angry. And like the Hulk, I'm always angry. I'm always green. And I always rip my shirt off. But that's something that we need to do. We need to understand that we have feelings, accept that they are feelings, and we can call them feelings. It's okay. It's totally okay. We all have feelings, right?
Yeah.
And if you don't think you have feelings, why are you with a woman? Like, what do you want from that? Is it just a piece of meat for you? We love, we feel, right? We love our children. It's totally okay. So I think it's really important to acknowledge our feelings. On top of that, I think it's really important to acknowledge their importance. Quite often we feel things, it's like, well, what can I do about it? Just got to get on with it, right? I still have to go to work and get a paycheck. But that doesn't change. Doesn't matter how I'm feeling. I still have to go out and hunt or whatever it is, right? Relative to your culture. And that's true. So that balance that you talked about, that there's a time for action and there's a time for reflection, that's the thing that we've got to get right. So we've got to acknowledge its importance. Don't diminish it just because you've got to go out and hunt because you're hungry. It's still there. You can come back to it. You don't have to sort everything out straight away. And you can't sort anything out straight away. Right? Because you look at any sort of physical injury. You go to a massage therapist because you've got this really tense trapezius muscle, right? They can't fix it straight away. They'll get right in there, do their deep tissue massage. You might get a chiropractor and crack it and try to release something. But it takes ages for it to heal. It's no different for an emotional injury. A physical thing. Like I said earlier, emotions are physical. So why wouldn't that tension take time to release as well? Muscles do that, right? They tense up.
Yeah, although emotions can have a tendency to be released almost like to sound all woo, like a butterfly almost. Once they're heard, once they're validated, and once the sort of the healing can almost, it seems like it's instantaneous.
It's like Mr. Miyagi.
Yeah, but it's sort of it's the trapping, I think, or the repressing, or the denying in terms of no, you're okay, or whatever it is that where it's somehow repressed. That I think is like the knot of the muscle.
Yeah.
And once the opportunity is there for a safe place to release it, then it can disappear almost like magic. But
then there's all these other residual things that go through the body too.
Yes.
So it is a physical process. And as with every physical process, it takes time. The universe wasn't born instantly. It's been 13.8 billion years to get to this point. And we're not done. We're still unfolding, the great unfolding. We call it physics, and it's still happening forever. So they are important. And getting in touch with your feelings means getting in touch with your body. So know your body, not your individual body. You can hear about what a human is meant to feel or do. Everyone's body is different. Your digestion is different to the next person's. We've got different blood types. We've got different genetics. We all evolved differently from our bloodlines. So just know yourself as best as possible and know that, okay, my breath shortens when I get angry. I feel this feeling in my stomach when it's go time. Whatever it is, just know your body. And that'll help you get in touch with your feelings because that's what you're feeling, your body.
And sometimes things like food can affect your body, of course.
Yeah, totally.
And that, in turn, it affects how you feel.
Yep.
And affects your emotions as well. So there's, a lot of things you can do to influence, of course, you're knowing your body, but also knowing what happens when you put certain things into your body and how that actually not only makes your body feel, but your emotional and your mental state as well.
Exactly. You do things to make you feel better.
Mm-hmm. Or worse.
Or worse.
Yes.
Now, something else, a really important ingredient in emotional intelligence is honesty and courage. Mm. This isn't a fun journey. Intellectual knowledge, that's fun. I could spend all afternoon reading about some random stuff and it doesn't challenge me emotionally in any way. Yeah. It doesn't take courage to learn about the space program. Unless you're scared of space or unless you're a flat earther. That would take a lot of courage. But learning about yourself and being willing to go there, that takes courage. Being willing to look into your childhood and go, oh my goodness, into all of your regrets. Like that guy who got that no regrets tattoo. That would be painful to look at. You need courage to look at that in the mirror.
Yeah.
But it's important to not have any regrets. So yeah, honesty and courage, it's a hard one. Yeah. And if you want to be a man or if you want to be an adult, you need it. And I'm not ready to look at everything. There's so much that I don't want to lift that lid off. Yeah. I think you're right. They go hand in hand, courage and honesty, because it often takes so much courage to be honest. Yeah. It's and that's, I guess, something that we've tried to, in terms of parenting, is to focus on that as much as possible. And with each other.
Yeah.
I had a chance to be really honest with you recently, and that was hard. But I did it, and I'm so happy about it. And someone else I'm very close to, she said the same thing to me. She said that being really honest with me was one of her proudest moments. And I can see why.
Yeah.
Now, that's all about our personal growth. But what about the interpersonal stuff? How do we develop our emotional intelligence relative to other things, especially people? And I thought about this. You wouldn't let someone walk around with lettuce in their teeth, would you? Especially if they're heading into a job interview or something. Even a complete stranger, you'd be like, hey, mate. And, thanks. And you're always telling me that I've got a bat in the cave. It happens a lot. It's always a left nostril too. But you wouldn't let me walk around with that just hanging out, right? Yes. And if you would, come on, that's pretty cruel. So why do we let people do that on an emotional level? We're afraid. We don't have the courage to say to someone, hey, man, are you okay? And we have whole campaigns about it. We've got Are You OK Day, right? Checking in with each other's mental health. We don't have Bat in the Cave Day or Lettuce in the Teeth Day. That's too easy. So to me, it's really important to understand that we can talk to each other. It's okay. And if someone rejects you, if someone says, I don't care if I've got lettuce in there, I like it there. Okay, no worries. And it's okay to ask someone, are you okay? I noticed that you seem a bit tense today. And if they want to open up, that's okay. And if they don't, that's okay too. But I think that's important to understand and actually care. Care about others. I think knowing that their feelings are important and treating them as a human being, regardless of their background, is a huge step towards developing your emotional intelligence.
Yeah, absolutely.
So wanting to understand.
Yeah, seeking to learn, seeking to understand.
Exactly. Seeing other people as important rather than just something to be used. Look, I just need this concrete to do my driveway. I don't care that his mum just died. I paid for this service. Well, like we said, there's action and there's reflection. You can do both. You can ask him how he's going. I'm really sorry to hear that. Did you want to talk about it? Give him a chance to cry on your shoulder, even though it's a complete stranger. And then, he'll feel better doing the job. And this isn't a cynical thing. So, I'm going to help him so he can get on with it. So he's not sitting there crying.
Yeah.
It's because other humans matter. So seeing others as important is a huge step.
And that would be using the magic ingredient of listening.
Yeah.
So that would be one of the most significant things, even with the concreter, is listen.
Yeah. And it's important to want to listen. And someone could say something completely ridiculous too. Like, oh, why are you upset? Oh, because, my favourite clown died or something. And to you, you're like, what? People have a favourite clown? What? And to you, it doesn't make sense. Yeah. But if we seek to understand and just keep listening, okay, well, tell me about that and try.
Yeah, try not to fix things and just listen. Yeah.
So, but there's got to be a real desire there to want to understand with listening. It can't just be, what is it? Oh God, really?
Yeah.
And
just reflecting back like, okay, so your favourite clown died or whatever. But it's got to be genuinely wanting to learn about this person's feelings, where they're at. Yeah.
That was a terrible example. Clown died. I don't know where that came from. I was trying to think of something ridiculous.
I thought of a clown.
And of course, we're not going to get it all right. So practice. Just like with anything, how many practice tests do you do at school? How many exams have you sat? It's countless. You couldn't possibly know. And we do it all the time. So we're always trying to learn new things and review those new things. It's the same with the emotional experience. Practice listening to people. Talk to everybody you can.
And practice sharing your feelings as well. That's often a really scary thing to do. It's often easy to be the listener, it's, oh gosh, you can really empathize and care deeply, and that's very, very important and beautiful, but to be able to share as well. And people want to feel trusted as well, that you're willing to share something really difficult with them. It's like, wow, they trusted me with that, So it's really important to do both, to learn how to listen and then learn how to have the courage, I guess, to share as well. One builds the other, and as you learn to have better listening skills, then hopefully you'll also learn the vulnerability of sharing as well.
And when you are sharing and being vulnerable, you're letting other people know how human you are. The last thing you want to do is give people the impression that you're some impregnable human. That you're so tough. Oh, yeah, that person, he's got no issues. He's just perfect.
Yeah, or they've got it all sorted. Absolutely. They're completely...
Like you said, it's chaos.
Yeah.
Everything's chaos. Look, I think the organ, the gut, is chaos. The stuff that happens in the gut.
Oh, it's pretty impressive how ordered it all is, though, in terms of it makes sense of the chaos. It uses what it needs.
But you're sending terrible food in there. It's got to sort all this stuff out. It's processing all this stuff, and then it's processing emotions as well. It's chaos in there. So no one's got it all figured out. The people that look perfect, you don't know what's going on. So don't be afraid to share. It'll bring you closer to other people.
Definitely.
Look, so that's what we're passing on to our children. We've got 2 boys. We really want them to grow up balanced and healthy. And part of that is being able to get in touch with their feelings, their emotions, their physical sensations through their bodies, being able to communicate them, being able to listen to other people, picking up the vibe, picking up the room. I'll probably get a little bit woo-woo here. We're at the end. No one's watching now. The universe has a heartbeat. Right, there's got to be an original pulse that's still been spreading since the Big Bang, or before the Big Bang even. Maybe if you get in tune enough, you can feel that. I think you said Chilton Pierce said that we've got a frequency emanating from our hearts, and people can feel each other's heartbeats.
Up to like 15 feet or something. It's like it's a big distance.
Yeah, exactly. So animals can feel that sort of thing. Animals get a vibe about people. This isn't that woo-woo.
No,
really.
You can measure it.
Yeah, probably. We've all got a vibe about us. So imagine that original pulse being at one with the universe, and then there's other pulses around that. You go to a rock concert, there's a completely different atmosphere there compared to Pluto. Even though we're in the same universe, there's a different vibe.
And for some people, they might call that God. Some people might call that love or whatever it is. But that higher, something bigger than ourselves, and something that we can connect to. Is that what you mean? Like to remember, to connect to the magic, I guess, in the universe.
Yeah, essentially. Yeah. But the problem is we're in the way.
Yeah.
Get out of your own way and you can feel it.
Yeah.
Get your ego out of the way and you can feel other people. We can understand what's going on for them. And on a simple level of reading body language, just the little visual cues, but essentially reading the room and reading the universe. Okay, that was so woo-woo in there. Thank you so much for joining us. If you enjoyed this, if you made it this far, you probably did enjoy it. So please give us a like, subscribe if you want, and leave a comment and let us know what you think emotional intelligence looks like. Riki, as always, thank you.
Thank you, Kiwi, and thank you for watching.